like them Italians, you know, your people, man.
You light skinned.
You light skinned.
You gotta be nice because you light skinned.
Light skinned. Like I told you, when he was a child, he was damn near transparent.
Okay. He was the clear one.
George, this is the clear one.
The clear one.
I am the clear one.
We had a raggedy upright piano in the living room, and I used to just beat on it. Like 2 years old, 3 years old. Yeah, I guess when I was like maybe 4, that early, 4 or 5, Pops taught me Blueberry Hill by Fats Domino. And, you know, I would just beat on it for years. Loved it. And I think about 3rd grade or so, I took some classical lessons. A lady right across the street, a little duplex from our house. Real nice lady, can't remember her name, but I really enjoyed that as well. Used to win all the little recitals and won the little, what are they called, the little bust of Chopin and Bach, what have you. Then 4th grade, I got a guitar, and I learned all of George Harrison's solos, the Beatles, and played some Ray Charles, did a couple talent shows. In 5th grade, I wanted to be in the school band, and I think I was out sick the first day that they were giving out loaner instruments. So when I went the next day, the only thing they had left was a baritone horn. Not the baritone sax, baritone horn. It's kind of like a baby tuba. But for me, it was huge. And I mean, I really wanted a sax, but in retrospect, I'm so glad that I didn't, because I may have made that my main thing. But that's the only thing they had left, and my parents couldn't afford to buy anything, so I took it. I used to drag it home every day. The case was huge, man. And, you know, then I come back to school. I used to go to the football games, you know, and all the girls would be hanging out, and I'm the only one out there. I just whip it out and would play. Then I was about, I'd say 11. And we had a group called the Big D3. It was me, my younger brother, and my older brother.
We were very creative in that, you know, we didn't really have a lot of money for instruments, so first drum set I created out of a cookie can.
You know, it was something. We made a drum set, real ghetto drum set. We took a tambourine, old tambourine, and ripped the jingles off. Put duct tape around it and took a wire hanger and kind of made like a thing to grab it and stuck it in a little stand, and that was a snare drum. No snare, just pop. And we had a cymbal that we got somewhere about that big. And that's funny because my older brother, he was big, you know, big guy, tall guy. So he's sitting behind this little tiny thing. And then my other kid brother, he was just there kind of just holding the guitar. And then, so I actually sang and played Ray Charles, Girl with the Red Dress. And we won 3rd place and got our picture in the newspaper. Got to stay up with the adults. And I was like Steve Martin in The Jerk. You know? Heard my first Mantovani record. I said, these are my people. This is my music. I mean, you know, it doesn't get better than that. You get to stay up with the adults, you get to play music, and you get $12 and your picture in the paper. So it was just a matter of, you know, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
He's as proficient and memorable as he is because of our first bands, our first experiences playing together as young teenagers.
I got an organ in 6th grade for Christmas. And I would sit in the living room, turn the lights off. I love the little red light on the organ. And I would take the turntable and turn it from 33 1/3 speed down to 16, which is actually half. And I would learn Jimmy Smith riffs.
We used to go from house to house. We used to have meals, food, lunch. You know, we used to pick on our parents' houses just depending on where we're going to eat that day. And one of the things that my mom used to do with Larry all the time, she says, Larry, before you get your meal, you got to sit down and you got to play.
And we met Philip Bailey, and Philip was 15, and here he was 15. And we went somewhere, it's a big warehouse, and they had a band, and they had the 3 guys with stools singing. I think it was a Curtis Mayfield tune, In the Shadows, and a 3-part beautiful harmony. So our band had the bomb instrumental guys. You know, we played Hugh Masekela and Jimmy Smith and on jazz, everything. So we snatched Philip and the other 2 singers and joined forces, and we started playing all over Colorado.
When I was about 14 years old, I was walking down the street here in Denver with a couple of buddies on Oneida Street. And there was a band that was rehearsing in a garage. And of course, you know, with all of us being interested in music, me and my little buddies, we ran over to see what was going on. And there was a band rehearsing in this garage. And guess who happened to be there?
By the time I was 15, my mom, God bless her, my little Italian mom, she allowed me to play 21 and over clubs 7 nights a week. Partly because she felt sorry for my sorry butt, because Pops had split at that time and different stuff. But she knew that the music was, you know, seriously in me. I actually got my first Rhodes in Colorado. There was some Hispanic brothers that had one for sale. And I think they wanted like $100. I think I gave them 25 or 35. So I said, if they ever see me again, it's either going to be, hey, Bato, we're so proud, or either we want this amount plus interest. But anyway, and that was the stage model, unlike this one. The stage model just had legs, 4 legs, and a little pole that went up into a little hole for the damper pedal. So then, you know, I learned all of Earth, Wind & Fire's first 2 albums by ear, and I flew out with that piano. Eventually, when I got some ducats, I went to Guitar Center, and I got my first, it was 73, this is 88, but I got the 73 key. And, you know, the guys at the store, oh, you know, Rhodes is really consistent, and I said, look, give me a bottom, and let's go through the tops. And we went through about 6 tops, and I think the 5th one was the one that had that real tangy sound, kind of like this one. This one, I believe, used to belong to Herbie. And I got it from Gerald McCulley, and I love it. It's just, I remember, you know, being like 19 or so with the Fire, and I used to love it. I just couldn't wait to get on stage and see the lights off of it, and I just knew, you know, what it was going to sound like. So there you have it. The first Earth, Wind & Fire, you know, came to Denver and did a show. It was like an early evening show. Earth, Wind & Fire had 2 prior albums out before Phil and I got in on Warner Brothers. And we opened our band, Friends in Love, that Philip and I had in Hilliard, you know, killing. We were playing Santana and just all the real deal. We opened the show for them. And then that's when I got to meet Maurice Verdine. And then Verdine and Maurice came to the little nightclub we were playing that evening and checked us out. So that's how we really got to, they checked us and we checked them. So one day we were opening the show for the group War. Here we are, just this little bar band. And it was at Manual High School, you know, high school down in the hood. And Janet Bailey, who was Philip's wife, used to go to that school. And so Philip was in town and showed up at that gig. So we got to a point in the show where they just gave me an organ solo. And I had a B3, and I just wore it out. I played jazz and a bunch of stuff, like 10 minutes. Philip was in the audience, so he went directly to the phone because, you know, they were still going through many musicians. And he calls Reese, and he goes, man, you know, back to those, they didn't have any cell phones, so you had to put a bunch of money in the phone, wipe it off. And so he calls Reese and goes, hey, man, I think we got the guy, man. You know, he's here in Denver. I grew up with him, and we played together for years. And, you know, he could really play, and he's a nice guy. You know, the only thing is he doesn't have a lot of experience. So I told Philip later, I said, don't ever tell people that. I was playing in nightclubs when I was a kid. And so when Maurice had called me, and they were like, we want you to fly out. I guess audition or whatever. So I flew out. Verdine picks me up. We go get the keyboard, and I'll never forget it. My first night in L.A., and I didn't know them, but now it's Century Boulevard. And Verdine had the green van. We're in there, and you know he's going over to the turning lane, and then next thing I know, he's in the other lane. Oncoming traffic is coming to him, and he, much in the tradition of Mr. Magoo, is cursing them out. And so I'm like, hey, bro, you're in the wrong lane. And all this stuff's going through my head like, great, first night in LA, they're gonna call my mom, tell me he's in the hospital or something. So anyway, we made it. We went up to the house and we whipped out the piano and played a couple of Earth, Wind & Fire things, so they knew I'd learned that. And I played a little bit of Herbie Hancock, Maiden Voyage, you know, show them I could play some jazz. And the rest, as they say, was history. And God did his thing, and then we ended up with what I call the original 9 that got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and stuff like that. Clive Davis had come out with his buddies, and I remember him and his buddies out from New York all had white shoes on, and they checked us out. Man, we played for about 45 minutes or an hour, and then I just remembered about 3 days later, Reese calling everybody and saying, hey man, we got a deal with Columbia. And at that point, that Last Days and Times album that we did, that was Maurice, Verdine, Ralph Johnson, Ronnie Laws on sax, Roland Bautista on guitar, and Philip, and me, and Jessica Cleese. So we did that album, and it did, you know, pretty well. People loved it. I remember going to Philly, because L.A., nobody knew who you were, you know, because in L.A. everybody's a star. There's that Dionne Warwick and all the stars that never were pumping gas in parking cars. But anyway, it blew me away because we went to the East Coast, and it was a different story. And remember, we opened the show for Gladys Knight and the Pips and the Four Tops, and it was us opening, and then the Four Tops and then Gladys, and we got to meet them and talk. It was amazing. And then they turned down the house lights, and we walked out. So 20,000 people had those green things that glow in the dark spinning them, and they said Earth, Wind, and Fire, and they just, and I just got chills. And I wasn't afraid. It was like, really? Because in LA, nobody knew. So, you know, we turned it out, and apparently Earth, Wind & Fire was well on its way to being a super group on the East Coast.
Larry was like, man, we got to do something, man, because I don't know how long this Earth, Wind & Fire stuff is going to last, you know. I said, Larry,
The royalties.
you're going to be making more money 5 years from now than you make it today. Wow. And he said, you think so? And I said, Larry, that music will never die.
Never die.
That music will never,
Last of the big
ever
bands.
die.
The first major hit was, of course, Shining Star. And I wrote that with me and Philip Maurice. I think I was 18 at that point. And we were up at Caribou Ranch, which was Chicago. Well, Jim Guercio, who was the group Chicago's manager, beautiful compound up there. I remember driving my saxophone buddy, and he picked me up. He was driving up, and it was like started to snow, winter wonderland. We get to this beautiful place, and everybody had their own room with brass beds and, you know, real expensive carpet and color TVs. Now you got to remember, this is freaking 1974, 75, 74, I think, going into 75. So anyway, after that, then we came back, Caribou the next year, and we did That's the Way of the World. Shining Star, #1 R&B, #1 pop. That's the Way of the World, #1 R&B, #1 pop as well. That's when it really shifted and took off. I remember Maurice called me. He's like, hey man, meet me down in the conference room at so-and-so, you know. We're doing this movie with Robert Stigwood, and everybody's doing Beatles tunes, and I got to Get You Into My Life. I was like, cool. Went down there, they had an upright piano, turntable, and the 45. So we played it, and I went, but 5 minutes I got it, Then he said, man, I want one of them crazy intros like we do. We wrote great, him being a drummer, and me being a keyboard player and his sense of rhythm. And ironically enough, he was born December 19th, not the same year, and I was born June 19th, so it's 6 months to the day, exact opposites. So he said, man, give me something crazy like ba 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 ba. And so I did the Want me to play it for you? Okay, I'll play it for you. And we cut that whole thing that day, put the horns on the evening, they did the vocals the next day, we mixed it, and it went straight to #1.
When you think about Earth, Wind, and Fire, you've got to think about Larry Dunn. And not only in terms of his prolific playing and songwriting, but the magic that he brought as musical director was undeniable, creating a sonic fingerprint that could not have been the same without it.
I became musical director when I was 21, which was great. And I'd always be with Reese, doing stuff, and I tell him, hey, I got more. He's like, no, Larry, you did great. I said, you sure? Because I've got more. Dudley Moore, I need more than enough. And he's like, no, man, brother, you did great. I said, okay. Next week, I'd be in the studio producing Lenny White. Marcus Miller was, I think, 15 years old at that point, and he was on summer break. School was out. So we did Streamline. That was a great album. Actually, my first production was when I was 21, was Caldera, and a great Latin fusion band.
They were one of the first really experimental fusion groups, and Larry was actually producing the record, and I was engineering. Amazing studio up in the hills of Malibu, which a friend and I discovered, and really fell in love with it because it was set up in the trees and overlooked the ocean, and it was very calm and peaceful. And the record was done on a very, very limited budget, and we were setting up to record this group and just going nuts. And I'd had about 8 hours of setting up. I didn't have a lot of assistance because, again, the budget was very small, and I was about ready to walk out on the project. I'd had enough. A couple of the guys in the group were very egocentric. They wanted some pretty outrageous babysitting, if you like. So I was on the point of walking out. This guy walked in. We had never met. And Larry and I just clicked immediately. I think it was, he calmed me down, persuaded me to stay.
You're not going anywhere.
Basically, we worked together ever since. So
I met Eddie Del Barrio, and I hooked Eddie up with Maurice, and they wrote Fantasy. I remember cutting that. That was great. I played the Rhodes, and Eddie played the grand piano, and then I overdubbed the grand piano intro with the lightning lick, I call it. Then Lenny White, and then it was on and on. Ramsey Lewis, Tequila Mockingbird, the Ramsey Lewis Routes, the Ramsey Lewis Keys to the City with me and Louisa, Stanley Turrentine, Level 42, Ronnie Laws, Hubert Laws, Diane Reeves, Dee Dee Bridgewater, so I was just so blessed to work with so many high-level, just great artists.
what association bring can actually elevate, you know, your skill. And so that's what I'm able to do. People like Larry, you know, I love to do things like that. Larry is a great musician, man. He's just naturally so great, and everything I've done with him, and you know, is memorable. I just mentioned how he contributed to one record I had done called "We're in Ecstasy," and he made, basically, I feel like he made the record because of his great talent. His contribution was just unusual, and so whenever he's called me, I've tried to come and do it.
Yeah, that's how it's done. That's how it's done, young children. Look at you.
Doing what we did just now. Improvisation.
Wow.
Now, Larry, let me tell you, man, don't ever underestimate, which is what I did, undermine or underestimate the natural talent. See, my fingers were moving, yours was moving. We didn't know where we were going to go, did we?
Pretty much.
And look what happened.
Right.
I mean, you know, we responded to the sound. We reacted to each other, man. And that, see, they can't teach that at Juilliard.
That's right, vibrations.
They cannot teach that at Juilliard, man. That's what really captures me. Good harmony perception.
Oh.
That's what you do, man.
Well, thank you.
I feel like I'm super blessed to first of all, to even have a livelihood with playing this music. You know, and each day I get up, man, it's something I look forward to. You know, I mean, so if anybody you find me dead and they said I committed suicide, you know, that's a lie, okay? Because I'm looking forward to every day. All right.
Oh yeah, kudos.
For those of you who are looking at us, obviously, there we go.
We're talking about
the one and only.
his better half.
There we go.
Lovely Louisa.
You sounded better when you married her. You know, you kind of.
Hey, he came into his own. He became a real man.
I said a prayer, and I said, Lord, find me a good man who's going to love me, forget what's on the outside, but for him to see what's on the inside. And Father, somebody who don't like sports.
I did introduce them, so I want this for the record.
For the record.
Okay.
He did. He's
That's
the one
right.
what done it.
I did introduce this boy here. You know, yeah.
And that
That's
was big
right,
of you.
baby.
Yeah,
That was
very
big
big of you.
Because I said it before, and I'll say it again. I'd have kept her for myself.
Hey, man. Whoa.
You know, I'd have been like, you could see us.
You probably got that right. You know.
Ram Lee, he's the one who introduced us to the group. And then they all came to the reception area. We were introduced. And then I saw Larry. And I must have been 15 at that point, and I knew right there. I said, oh my gosh, he's the one. From that point on, we were always friends. He was always a gentleman, always ministered to me about the things of God. But down the road, as I got older, then we hooked up. We were introduced again down the line. It's like fate brought us together.
We got together in, what was it, 83? 1983. And yeah, like she told you earlier, she said, I'm not sure if I want to do music, but you know, I heard her voice, and she had the texture was just so great and full.
He said, you know what? I've heard you sing around the house, and you're gonna make me rich. I said, really? He said, you're gonna do this for a living. Not this. I said, I don't know if I could hang, but at that point on, and then I started to get the concept of being in the studio.
Maurice and I started writing together, and it was great, you know, getting with her because she didn't even realize it, but she had a great talent, you know, great voice and great knack for writing beautiful melodies. And like I said, a lot of people don't get it. To write a simple melody is the hardest thing. It's not simple at all. And I think a lot of that happens with her just out of a godly talent and, you know, her experiences in life.
By now, whoever's watching this gets it. We love you.
Right. You guys been together, what, 26 years?
The 14th last
That's
Sunday.
a wonderful thing. All right. And they still together.
Stop it, stupid. But yeah.
Sometimes we have our opinions, and you know, we go head to head sometimes. But you know, the thing is that the process of it is always becomes something beautiful at the end.
It's definitely about the music. Larry has always been about the music.
81, 82 was actually the last tour for Earth, Wind & Fire with the original members.
Remember the last tour, we had the tilted stage, and Freddie would come out of the, you know, with the drums, and then the cats would come out from all each side, and we had put together the track, and they were doing their little step. And so one day we were having sound check, and Maurice was walking on a thing, and somebody had spilled some Coca-Cola. So he's walking, and he heard this with the shoes. He looked at Frank Scheibach, the main roadie guy, and said, "Man, I got a great idea. You know what? Go over there and get a whole case of the Coca-Cola and just pour it all over the stage. And then, you know, showtime, you know, we get better traction." Beautiful. Right. I say, take a science course, because he forgot about one little thing. The fog machines.
The fog machine.
So when the fog machines came on, what did it do? It melted the Coca-Cola and turned it back to its original wet form. Somewhat slippery. So here they come out, and it was, remember, Ralph and Maurice and Philip stood up at the top of the stage and underneath the laser. Yeah. And when that cue came, they were to do one turn. Maurice was the first one. He did one turn, and his butt hit the ground. And the whole crowd could see him going.
And the people thought it was in the show.
He said, "Oh, sugar honey iced tea." S-H, yeah. And so he hit the ground so hard, and then everybody started coming after him. And everybody, one at a time, was going down. Earth, Wind, and Tumbles.
Right, it was.
And then I remember Satterfield told me, he said, "Man, me and Ron, we were standing up at the top of the stage, and we was holding each other's hands so tight, because we were scared." We said,
"Staying up."
And that's when Satterfield said, "Dud, man, I wouldn't." He said, "If I would have went down, my big ass would still be rolling down Pennsylvania Avenue."
Even now.
Even as we speak.
Yeah, you fall with your horn, you're done.
You know,
right.
But everybody else went down. It was like a bowling alley.
It was.
You know, it was
bowling for musicians.
I got a strike.
In 83, that's when I had just gotten with Louisa, and we weren't married yet. We just started courting, and we did that Electric Universe. And I mean, I played on it, and I told him the next day, I said, "Man, I took it home. Good music, it is. Earth, Wind & Fire, it ain't." So after that, that was it.
You know, the description of a Larry Dunn project is almost, it's synonymous with Earth, Wind & Fire, just because he was really a major contributor to the sound. So when I hear Larry, I really hear an extension of the EWF sound.
Me over here with the R3. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the R3 by Chord. Unbelievable. I'm actually using this for the vocoder.
We can boogie down, get down, all down. Go boogie down, get down, all down. Go boogie down.
Doesn't matter when you do it, it's what you do and what you put in it. And he's put his best in it, as he always has and always will.
It's been quite a long haul, but yet, you know, it's been a journey. That's why we called it Into the Journey.
We took our time, and we took 7 years and finally completed the project. 7, the number of completion and perfection. Just so blessed. Got great people on there. Louisa produced and wrote and sang. My brother Stephen Dunn did some writing and also a lot of drum work. Ronnie Laws, Hubert Laws. James Ingram, Beloyd Taylor that wrote Getaway.
Nothing left for field. Added that.
Stanley Clark, who's up here. Foley from Miles Davis Band. Sheldon Reynolds. Did I say Ricky Lawson? Yellow Jackets, Michael Jackson. Manyango, percussionist from Stevie. Paulinho DaCosta, the great percussionist that did all the Earth, Wind & Fire stuff and everybody else in the world. And Hilliard Wilson, the first guy. And of course, Geo Evans. Geo Evans is the young cousin of Donald Whitehead, who was Maurice's keyboard player way back in the first Earth, Wind & Fire. Andre Delano on Reasons. That's the one where Stevie Wonder called me and said, man, I love your CD. I love what you did with Reasons. And I'm like, we were calling you to thank you for playing it all day. Ram Lee did that beautiful flugelhorn solo on Brazilian Dream.
Which I'm honored to be a part of.
Adam Procton, Vonell, vocals.
I'm looking forward to doing other projects, and hopefully he'll keep me on board.
Like to help you. I said, we got enough people on there to make a Tarzan movie.
We started out together some odd year, many yarns ago. You know, so Larry called, said, hey man, I'm about to make the magic again. I said, well, just tell me where and when, I'll be there.
I met Larry in '74, right, with Earth, Wind & Fire. Earth, Wind & Fire, yeah. And so, like I said, we have a family. All the musicians, if you call, we're there.
But can you say ditto if it's the third time around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can it go three or more
ditto
times?
Can come.
Yeah, I mean, these guys pretty much said it. Phone call. Well, you just heard it from them. Here we are. And that's how it is. That's how it is.
We met in the late 70s, early 80s, I think. And I think one of the first people we played together with, Ronnie Laws. And I think it was at the Greek Theater back then. And I mean, it was so cool musically, it was so fun. You know, we just stayed in touch from there. When I listen to music, listening to what's there kind of tells me what to add to it, what to play on. I'm not gonna just play anything. It's according to the music that says, you know, it would like to hear this or to add that, you know. It's just like, you know, you're eating some gumbo or whatever and you need some kind of spices in it. There's only certain kind of spices you're gonna put in it to make it taste even better, you know. And then it may be something else, like some grits, or some oatmeal, so you're not, or some pancakes or whatever. You're gonna make that different than you do the gumbo. You know, you're gonna put some different spices on this. You know, so music is like that. You know, certain tunes that I hear, I listen to it and it tells me what may make it happen, what may make it be even better. I'm not gonna play over it. I just want to add to it to make it like a big flower. You know,
a lot of what it's all about. So my heart stopped beating when you turned to go. All my dreams slipping out the door. I ran right over and baby, you smiled at me. Forget the words, here's my melody. Walk on the water, live in the sky. Ain't no words for a love this high. But God made music, so I try and try. Walk on the water, but live in the sky.
It gives it a nice energy, you know? You put all the hand stuff on.
Day after day and night after night, looking for something, nothing was right. My heart grew hard living alone. Don't need no fire, 'cause I'm a rolling stone. I laughed at love, just a story go round. Mama tell her children when the rain came down. Then I saw this girl standing up under the light, and I knew right then that my mama was right. I looked all over, but you had gone. Could not speak, so I wrote this song.
I'll just drag you down to another track.
Never did I ever imagine that I would be here. I mean, I just never thought it'd be possible. You know, I came up listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire, and when I had this opportunity, I jumped at it. I just thought it was great. You know, so amazing.
It's never easy losing a friend. And when that friend is someone who brought so much love into the world through their music, it seems even harder.
He would help me along the way to vocalize certain things, and he was such an amazing teacher to me, and he gave me the confidence to where I'm at today, and praise God.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, well, I'll be darned. It's Beloyd Taylor and the lovely Renee. What's up, guys?
Hey, how you doing? Wow, buddy! All of these
This man here, he's one of my mentors, vocal mentors.
Yes, he did.
He's taught me a lot
He pulled it right
over the
on up by
years.
our bootstraps.
Yeah, show me how to animate my vocal. Yeah, that.
No. Hey, hit me! Good God!
Yeah, he did. Actually, yeah, he did the wonderful lead vocal on Finally. And he's going to do some touching up today because he's even pickier than I am. So.
Can't wait to sing the one note that I have to correct.
Yeah, yeah, it is
the
good.
one note that is
because you know
I sang so like ah! You know what I mean?
And he's composed a lot of Earth, Wind, and Fire material. Getaway was that's a biggin. And
that's how I bought these clothes.
James Ingram. And,
see? And I bought my women some clothes too.
And he taught us a lot about animating music instead of just you know straight like he said. He said that old regular stuff.
Yeah.
That's right.
The way you play, can't help it. Well, I can go anywhere I want to go.
Is that something that can really be taught, or is it something that you just got to be born with?
Well, I mean,
I
mean, you have to. I guess you have to be born with it, but you have to be, like I said, he even with me, I've been playing for, you know, since I was a kid. Got with the Fire when I was about 17, just turned 18. And when he came on the set, you know, I mean, he would tell us to, you know, come on, a little bit more animated, or some of the analog keyboard stuff I had. When I'm messing around, and then he come, no, that's it. I said, I'm just joking. He said, no, use that. And it really did free me up. And then he did the same for Lulu.
I respect you respecting me, and I'm so glad that to meet a goddess,
a god of music. No.
Edit that.
But when you have music as perfect as he does it, and the way he plays, you could play anything. Cause I call him Mr. Waterfalls because he's visually in my mind. I see going down, and then his chord progressions are so perfect.
Somebody help him. Bless you.
Achoo! Having fun. That's the best way to put it. Having fun. I respect the come on in, do your thing, and just be you. Feeling.
You know, you.
La 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 feeling. I mean, it's a while since I sang it, so those parts, you know, you're feeling different. I eat different food and I was feeling different now. Finally, all the tears and the fear gone away. You made me work for your love every day. Hey, finally, yeah. And we've been friends for so long. You know, fire is a fire. This is my desire.
Great memories, and we're gonna miss Beloyd very much.
And people ask me all the time, the brothers are like, how'd you get all these guys? I say, because they love me. You know, first of all, the music's going to be real, and they know that, you know, for lack of a better vernacular, I'm not a jive guy, you know. You know, and that a lot of that goes back to your upbringing and your belief system.
Of his accomplishments, and there are many, I think probably one of his greatest, to me personally, is that he has remained humble.
Yes.
Through all of it. I mean, you know, he's done a lot of great things for a lot of years.
This music is just, it's from the heart. You know, it's from the soul. and so it's just so spiritual. There's something spiritual about it, and that you could just sense the presence of God in it, and just not only that, the integrity of it, and just the love that everybody poured into this project. All the musicians that were involved, all the writers, just people who just pour their love into it, and how we all unified as one is just having a good time, just having fun, just putting it all together. And that when it comes to our music, that it's on a level of integrity, on a high level, spiritual level. It's all combined in one, and that we just don't, when it comes to our music, it's not milquetoast. You know, it's all about the love. We just want to give them something where they'll be inspired and where they'll be encouraged and where they feel like there's hope.
So in the end, it is really all about love.